Well, good morning and hello. It is Tuesday week 10, and we all need that little bit of a kick that says, yes, we're still in lockdown, but we're here, we're well, we're ready to go and cannot wait to have a great time. Ha ha ha. If you're here tonight, she says, if you're here today and you're able to be ready, we're going to be doing something called side bending through Pilates movement patterns. Now, I would say bending is one of the biggest issues when you bend from the wrong area. So to bend and bend from the wrong place is the time where it becomes precarious. So good morning, Margaret. If you're in today, it's Tuesday, it's week 10, and we're in the day 4 of the series that follows on from last week, where we did day 1, which was abdominals, day 2, which was the back, day 3, which was your hips, glutes and thighs, really hip health. And today it's the waist area. So we have to get the side bending going in order to get today going. Side bends, this is my warning moment for you. When asking you to bend in certain parts of the workout that's ahead of us, try and keep the bending coming from the rib cage. A true bend will always be rib cage upwards. A reach can come from the hip, so long as you're not bending through the lower back. So good morning, Sarah. Be careful with this one, Sarah. Make sure you keep a slight pelvic tilt, you Mrs. Lordotic. Good morning, Patricia too. And Kath Senior's watching. Well, hello there, Kath. Great to see you. I'm just explaining that it is side bending today. So side bends are where we take it from the lowest rib all the way to the skull. That part of your spine's happy to bend, and we're trying to tune into that. Jane Fox and Ken and Claire, good morning. And Susan. We're all rolling in here, raring to go, and Donna. It's given me a good idea as to who's in the room and how I can do this. Lindsay, hello there. Have we had a great weekend? That's the question. And Carol, have we had a great weekend? It couldn't have been better, really, could it, sunny-wise? Although, what day was really windy? Can't remember. It seems like years ago. Okay, Friday was very windy. We did a social distancing time with my mother on Friday, and the wind nearly blew us off the road, but basically my parents hadn't seen anyone in 12 weeks. So we did that social distance moment, for which they loved and we loved too. Although since then, I don't really know what happened, except that we haven't done Pilates. Today, side bending. Make sure you've got your mat. We'll start standing today. We will be lying on our backs. You will need something under your head for the small amounts of abdominal work that we do. Because I can't physically see you and teach you, I need you to be totally conscientious about where you're feeling it. Even if today becomes a less is more moment for you, I'm not trying to do your Pilates hit, I'm trying to get you Pilates body fit. You're taking your body out of lockdown. So if some of the movement patterns just don't feel right, then they won't be right. If it feels stiff, that's something else. But if it feels awkward and not quite right, particularly in the lower back, the sacroiliac area, then please don't continue, but kind of step back, have a momentary pause and think, okay, and then you can pick it up again. I do need us bending sideways. I'm going to really try very hard to, without you being physically, in my view, getting you moving and bending so that we don't get stiffer and stiffer through the sides of our body, usually from the side hips up to the high waist. And that's really all there is to say. We've all had an extra day off. Some of us don't kind of know what the meaning of that is. Others of us are really delighted that we've had that extra 24 hours to rest, relax and recoup, ready for a week 10 of Pilates lockdown here. I'm going to get us going. So if you find your place on the mat, I'll abandon my glasses. You're going to start standing. You don't necessarily need anything to hold on to, but you do need to find that sense of alignment yet again. Spread out the toes, just as I've been teaching you to spread out your fingers. Try and get the sense that the toes also want to feel the earth beneath your feet. The knees are soft. We'll go straight to the familiar squat, but as you squat, I don't want a deep squat. I just need that opening of the hip behind and the flexion of the hip at the front and the breathing. I will keep teaching you slowly. So inhale and exhaling. Remember, for these opening squats, you can either single the breath out to go down on one part of the breath and back up. Whatever you are doing, the thigh bones stay parallel, the toes want to reach, and I've noticed that the toes on my right foot will happily do absolutely zero So my progression is that I'm trying to ask my toes to be part of the foot rather than it rely just so much into my heel. The next time you go down into the hip bend, the squat, so you've got that flexion going on at the hips without the chest dropping. Staying here for the breathing, inhaling and exhaling. Place the hands onto the thighs. We're going to get the back bending. Exhale to nod and bend your rib cage and stay. Breathe deeply in and out. I'm not asking for a massively deep squat. You want stabilisation with breathing, flexion of the spine in the upper thoracic. Lower back feels relatively neutral still. Some of the hamstring glute abducting and stabilising you. You're breathing deeply in and out, spreading the toes, feeling the abdomen and the breath muscles shrink the middle of you whilst you hold your form with the hamstrings, glutes and obliques. With your next breathing out then, tuck your bottom under to roll the spine from the tailbone end and you find yourself stood up. Next time, squat again, stay, breathe in. This time we'll take the full rolling down. This is the forward bending of the rib cage part of your spine. You're aiming to feel more awareness of exactly where the spine is that needs to bend. It's your high waist to the back of your neck. Stay here, let your head hang between your arms. We'll stretch the back of the thighs now, so breath out and straighten the knees a bit, inhale and bend. Exhale, wait for the breath out. Pull the thigh bones backwards, the knees straighten, your toes stretch, 2 more. Your lower back has gone nowhere. It's absolutely true and still in neutral. Next time, as your legs reach into your longest line through the back of the thigh, core connect the breath out and return by rolling the hip bone now into neutral imprint and all the way up to stand. Take it so that your posture stays aligned. Don't let the hips move and do stay in absolute neutral. So if you've got a lordosis increase, then people like Sarah Butler, make sure you're pelvic tilted. Take your arm up in the air. This is called a side reach. So side reach opens at one side of the body, doesn't go any lower than the last rib, and you feel the lengthening happening through the side here. Breathe in, and then breathe out, and pull yourself back again. I'm going to step back so you can see all of me. Other side, you're in neutral, your legs are locked out, your hips go nowhere. Take your arm up. The side reach is you pulling your rib cage away from your hip bones with no disturbance to the pelvic position that is neutral, and the reach comes from the last rib through your armpit. And if you're conscientious, you're drawing up on your pelvic floor, drawing the navel to the spine, and you're getting a reach into the right kind of muscle lengthening part. And we come back up again. So now we go, exhaling, up, inhale, reach, exhale, shrink, hollow core, pull back down. Inhale, reach up, exhale to find your core, and inhale to lengthen. Try and use your breath in to lengthen. Your pelvic stability is the hips not going anywhere. You're going to come back again. Be conscientious because it leads to much bigger things. The reach is the lengthening, as though you're pulling everything out of the hip bone that's the bottom of the armpit. You breathe deep and you reverse back. That's all we're going to do there. You're now going to take your feet wide, initially relatively parallel. So they don't need to be anchored parallel, but they do need to be there. Give you a side view as to where you're headed. Back into the hinge of the hip and the stand up. So the hip pulls you down and pulls you forwards. Nod the chin. Spread the toes. Feel the hip hinge rather than the back take you lower than you really should go. And the perfect alignment from the pelvis neutral. Down you go to stay. So your feet are marginally turned out. You're very clearly into a squat hip shape, but with wider legs. And you're back to that breathing in and breathing out. Don't grip your glute muscles here. Core stabilise and distribute the load through the muscular structures as equally as you can. Place your hands onto the knee joint area. Ready for your breathing to bend. Breath out to nod the chin and bend the ribs. Keep the toes connected. Breathe in and out just here. So the drawing up on your pelvic floor, the shrinking of the rib cage into your upper back, keeping the lumbar area relatively flat and completely controlled out of it. On the next breath out now, you'll tuck your bottom under and you'll come all the way back up again. So that's woken up and warmed up that part of the spine. Go down again and up again. So you're going to go down now, getting some big muscle work to push blood through the posture, through the pelvic area, up into the spine. So your spine lacks a decent blood supply without any muscular movement. So the big muscles in the legs are helping us mobilise the spinal column. But if you're not breathing and you're not doing the right kind of flexion at the hip, so behave in my absence, then you aren't getting as much from this as you could. You've got 4 more. The body's starting to create a little bit more heat. 2 more. And this time stay. We're going to do pelvic tilts. So breath out, keep your heels loaded, and pelvic tuck. Now you've identified the lumbar spine. Stay in that pelvic tuck. Inhale. Breathe out, spread your toes, and let the pelvis go back to its neutral curve. Exhale again, pelvic floor, navel, spine. Feel the curling. So you're mobilising the lower back. Have a breath in, spread your toes, keep your ultras active, keep your thighs wide, and go back into neutral. From there, exhale and bend the rib cage part of the spine. Fold in half over your breast, so now the upper back is bent. And as you go down, let the head hang. Then you're back to having your hands to the floor. Exhale and push the legs straight. Inhale and bend. When I say straight, I mean aim for a straighter leg without the lower back tucking under. If you were to see the evidence that the back should stay neutral, you'll watch my pelvis just stays true as I nurture the breathing muscles to keep the legs connected to my trunk and my breath. And then you're ready. On the next breath out, ground yourself through the heels and rotate, tilting pelvis, moving the whole spine up into here. So now we're ready for some side bending. You don't have to keep moving position. I'm moving position to give you the accuracy of what we're doing. You now have a more turnout at the hip. The problem with bending in our age group is your fixed positions become blockages. So my aim is that if I create as much length in your spine as possible, I can get you bending the right part of the body rather than bending. Breathe deeply in and out here. Become comfortable. We would need a little bit more of a sense of not blocked, braced and locked. So that sense of just gently moving and breathing. So that living, moving breath-core connection. Inhaling and exhaling. Your spine stays lengthened. Your breath in through the nose and down through the whole core area. Making you lighter. That's what happens. People, we're going to stay down. This is the difference between side bend and side reach. So first position here. Whichever arm you want, mirror image me if you want to, pelvis is true. Breathe in and reach the rib cage off the hip bones, but my waistline, if it had a white line over it, stays true. And then come back, other side. Inhale, reach. Exhale. One side of the waist feels like it shortens as the other side, hip bone stays still, lengthens. That's a side reach. You're going to come out of that position there, push, and come back again. Now we're going to do a reach, so that's your side reach here, into a side bend where the hand to illustrate side bend is going to come across the body. Breathe out now and bend your rib cage on the side you're bending down to your hip bones and feel the shortness going on in the obliques this side, the true pelvic stabilisation this side. No rotation, ideally, and we come all the way back up. Ready for the other side. Breathe. And find your plie wide sumo squat with a relatively flattened back, but not completely. Take the hand, tell your body how to side reach. Side reach is here. Breathe into it. Pelvis is true. And, okay, side reach. 1. To side bend, hand across the body, and the rib cage bends. You flex over the sides. The hand going across helps the body know where to go. Big breath in and breathe out and up you come. With more to add to this, we need to rotate, side bending, reaching and flexing. We've got the squat, our thighs are wide, our knees are pulling backwards. Hand to the side, hand to the sky. Side lean, breathe in. Side bend, cross. Side rotation with flexion, turn the hand, and you feel as though you've crossed your arms, but you've turned your head. I've gone to my right, so I'm over to my right. Stay here. You'll feel all of the reaching stretch from the side hip bones all the way to the neck. Now come reversing back, back, up, push. Other side. Basic position. You're in your open plie sumo squat. Hand, arm, reach. So if you get reach, the bend becomes better. So inhale into the space you've created. Exhale into the bending. Keep your load through feet equally, heels. Exhale and, sorry, I should have done it there. Exhale and turn. So I've got one hand across to one thigh, the other hand to the other. I'm looking down, breathe deeply in, and then reverse that process. Going back through the lean and up. We're going to do the whole thing in one go. So we inhale into your position. Exhale, lengthen and cross. Turning to look at the knee. Inhale, opening. It's like a cartwheel in some ways. And we go down, up, across, rotation, reversing through the arm sequence, doing it all in one go, leaning, rotating, rolling, reversing back up and lean, rotation, roll, going back through the sequence all the way up, and there you have it. Walking your feet back together, you're now finally mobilised for the workload. Some of your feet now parallel, it's becoming quite intense. So from here, make sure you've got your feet a good, in other words, my foot width apart is what I want between my feet. That gap between your feet is one size 6 for me. Once you've got that positioning, reach up into the air. Inhale just here, and then exhaling, allow your arms to come down, nod the chin, let the legs soften as you roll down. Once you've rolled down, stay, breathe in. Breath out to walk your hands and find your plank. Again, everything on the mat lined up. Just hold your shape, breathe deeply in and out. Listen, now place your left hand to the centre under your chest and leave it there. Now turn onto that hand so you end up on your left hand and on your left leg dominantly. Breathe in, breathe out, come back, find your plank, breathe in again, stabilise, push the ground away, put your right hand and then push against the right hand as you turn into your side plank, and then you're going to push the ground away, come back again and then lower the knees down and find your stretch. So it's a counter stretch, releasing your lower back. We're going to do this again but add a natural bend. So you're into your strong spread fingered position, plant your foot, heel to the sky, foot against the ground, second leg. This time my right hand's coming to the centre. I'm going to roll onto my right leg more than my left foot, as it were, and then push against that leg, side bend. I'm letting my head look down, come out of it, breathe and reorganise back to plank and stabilise. Have a big breath in. Are you ready? Your left hand, roll to your left leg, big breath in, exhale, lift, folding in half. You can put your right hand to the floor as you push into your left hand, left leg, reverse back to your symmetry and come back to plank, lower the knees down and counter stretch. We're going to do the same again, once more each side. So the movement pattern, you're in your wide leg hold, shoulders away from the neck, pushing through the feet and the hands. Bring your left hand to the centre. Roll onto your left leg more than your right. Big breath in. Exhale, pelvic floor core. Up you go, either reach the knee or have your hand to the floor, it doesn't matter. It's a bend. You come back and you find your plank. Are you ready? Stabilise, don't rush. Exhaling, pushing the ground away, pulling your right hand in, rolling onto your right leg, holding your form, push up against the right foot, pushing through the right hand, breathe, reverse lengthening out into your diagonal back, come back, planking the hands, planking the legs, and then pulling your knees back and counter stretch. Breathe deeply in and out. We're going to take ourselves quickly into the 100 position, ready, so you'll lie on your back. If you want a head pad, we're not here for long, but I'm just giving you a choice. Once you lie down, because we're older human beings and we don't have the kind of youthful element on our sides anymore, your first lying down shape after what we've done as an energizer matters. Breathe deeply in and out. I'm going to give you a few moments. As you're breathing deeply in and out, you're in complete neutral. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling. We're going to start to build up our awareness of the trunk and abdominal area. Set breath out and curl. Stay, inhale as deep as you can and start your 100 count. So inhaling and exhaling. Remember what we say. The abdominal wall pulls down away from your clothing. You're inhaling through the sides of your armpit and your ribs, and your breathing out muscles come through an open smiling mouth. Smile, it's Tuesday. From this positioning here then, next time, you're going to hold your arms still and breathe out and shorten your side rib towards your hip. Breathe in and return. Do the other side. Breath out. Slide sideways. Your rib cage pulls towards your hip bone. Your true pelvic position, stay still. Your feet are heavy and your hips don't move. It's your obliques that shorten you and shorten you and shorten you. Last time each side. And then pull the thighs together, roll the head, neck and shoulders down, and we're going to do that in the actual 100 position. My legs are down. Exhale to imprint the lumbar spine. Have your legs tight together, nose points to the knees are level, the thigh bones are pointing up vertically. Breath out now to curl up and stay. Breathe in. Exhale and inhale back. Exhale. You should feel the rib cage sliding to the side. If your thigh bones slide, you're moving your hip bones. Try pulling the thigh bones tight together through your inner thighs and use your breathing muscles now that you know what you're doing. If it's really intense, by all means, hold your thighs and feel one elbow bend more as it leads you into your side position. And draw the pelvic floor up. Your legs will try and move, don't let them. So this is an early side bend. Side bends are soon to get all of your kind of lateral muscles, the muscles that make you up from your armpit to your hip bones. Then the most underutilized, one more each side, because we find it very hard to side bend when we don't exercise using those muscles. From here, you're coming to a position that's really quite intense. We're going to kneel up, and I would love you all to be in front of me because I'd love to see what happens here. I'm very aware of my limitations, but I'm also very aware that we need to keep moving what will move. We've done this position lots. We've done it as a backwards lean, so just do the backwards lean so you remind your body what this is about. Exhale, pelvic position is neutral. Thigh bones feel the lengthening out of the quadricep area, and they lead you to your oblique muscles. And if you keep the breathing going, you'll find that you're encouraging the body just to flow into its greatest loaded position and length and back out of it safely. The massaging of the abdominal area throughout this is obvious. Next time you come back up, you'll stay. Take your hands now. This is where we start the side bend. So remember, the rules have not changed. This is exactly the same. Shoulders away from the neck. Breathe out and learn to bend just the armpit down in the direction of the hip bone without your pelvis going anywhere, and come back up again. Inhale your length. Breathe out to shorten one side of the armpit to the high waist. Breathe in to claim the space. Breathing out, righting yourself again. Inhale, out breath, side bend. Stay, breathe, exhale, pull your armpit down more. Notice the hip goes nowhere. Drawing up, drawing in, drawing up, drawing in, and then to return back. Both sides of the waist operate, as does the back of the pelvis and the pelvic floor. Other side we go. Inhale for your length, chin in. Exhaling, feel the armpit pull you over sideways to a high bend. Breathe, keep breathing, and then we go into as much range as this side will allow and this length will allow. Are you ready? Coming back up. Now that might be your level, but we're going to move on. Go back to the side that we originally did. Flow to your side bend. All this while, the pubis is being drawn up through the centre, through the navel, through the spine. Take your arm down. Now as I reach my arm down to the side without my hips moving, notice, I'll find I go light on the opposite knee. There's nothing in my lower back. If there was, I know I've lost my alignment. From there then, reach this hand and slowly find yourself to the ground. At this point, both legs come off. Now, you're familiar with this shape, so find this shape. This shape is going to be utilised differently. Now, I am deliberately at a diagonal to you to try and show a bit more, so don't think anything's changed. The foot of the leg that's on the floor is pointing to this front where I'm pointing. My kneeling leg is under my hip. This positioning now requires you to find a strong connection between the floor and this leg, which leads you to the underneath oblique and this hand. Go breathing deeply in and out. Listen to my cueing, inhaling and exhaling. On the breath out, as you pull the pelvic floor up, push the ground away with my right hand and my left leg to the point where you feel as though your knee could lift on the kneeling leg. Do you hear me? Breathe. Exhale. As you sink and hollow here, you will press up through the leg that's on the floor, through the hand that's on the floor, and this kneeling leg floats with the foot still down and returns down. The impact is underneath waist muscles on the left-hand side for me. Sorry, right-hand side. Big breath in. Exhale and breathe, 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 and come back. So to come out of there, take your arm, float the leg and pull yourself up and then put the leg back down. Ready for the other side. You're kneeling. Find your salute. Have a slight space between your legs. Don't have them too wide open though. We take it side bend. Breathe. Go deeper. This is where the rib cage, thoracic bend, increases. Now as you increase here, this side goes lighter. Stay, keep breathing. So only the breath will allow any re-lengthening and re-strengthening properly that gives you more range of movement through the spine. As I go further down, my right leg becomes lighter, so I'll gradually place my hands to the floor and stretch the leg out. Rules of engagement are push down on this leg, push down in this spread hand. From that position there, this area here, exhale, and as you push the ground away, you visualise the load coming out of your kneeling leg. You can have your open chest, or you can have the hand around the waist. All that matters is that you're so working here, you're getting everything in the oblique, and you can feel the alive connection between the straight leg and the armpit. Last time. And stay. Are you ready for the return? So you can start to bring this leg back as you come all the way back to kneeling. Go to a counter position, so just take your bottom back, sit your bum back. And now we're going into side lying. We're going to visit what we've just done again, but I want to do a kind of intermediary moment of what you call hip hitch. So side series, we've kind of blurred it all together, but for side bends and kind of return to mobility, stability here and the waist, you need to learn to hitch. Underneath leg is really straight. You've lined everything up. Your top leg's going to lift up. Put your thumb on your rib cage, put your fingertips on your hip bones and shrink. Shorten the waist, feeling it from the hip bone. There, breathe. Now your waist is off the floor on the side you're lying. On the next breath out, pelvic floor level to spine and drive that thigh up. Have your moment and then breathing out, lower them down again. Breath in, the leg lifts and hitches simultaneously. Breathe out and draw through the inner thigh, the pelvic floor, and close that gap. And then lower the legs down, returning to the gap. Inhale, the leg lifts and you hip hitch. This is shortened, my waist is grounded. Breathe out, keeping your waist grounded. Let the underneath leg drive up and then coming back, the underneath waist reappears. 2 more. Inhale and suck the hip bone up. Exhale, glue the hip to the ribs, the inner thighs, drive everything tight together and lowering back down, the waist reappears. Inhale the leg up, suck, you can use your breath out as part of the hinging continuation, and then up we go. Tight through the adductor inner thigh and down you go. Well done. You're going to come back up and you're going to do your side bend in this direction. So we've come back up, exhaling to core connect. This is the final 2 movements really. As you take yourself here, position 1, you've got forehead, hands. Position 2, increasing with the breathing muscles. Breathing out will always flex your spine better. You're then going to go so far, but your load transfers. Now you've got your straight leg and your pushing arm. From this position here, watch what happens. Big breath in. As I breathe out and push through my straight leg and through my hand, my underneath leg can go into my side plank, but I'm staying bent. It can then come back again and away again. And watch it come back again. Breathe. Push the ground away with your arm and your foot. So plant. If it helps you to look down, that's fine. You're learning to push with the hands and feet to find your middle. You've got that flexion. Come back. Bring both knees back and counter stretch. Other side of side lying with hip hitch before we do the other dramatic move. Side lying, straight line, heels. Again, a lot of this stuff you just need to do on your own often to get your level. I go too fast to make real corrections, but I am opening your influence. Your top leg will lift. You inhale. You've got a gap between the waist and the floor. You're going to hitch the hip to close the gaps. On the next breath out, underneath leg is driven up. Legs are together and legs lower down. This gap reappears. Inhale the leg, hitch the hip. Underneath leg, drive the thighs tight together using your adductors and your pelvic floor. And we repeat. 1, hip hitch. 2, underneath leg, drive the thighs tight together, and then as the legs lower down, the pelvic position becomes back to neutral. Inhaling up and hitch. Exhaling, ground the hip, ground the waist, and inhaling, and last two. Inhale up and shorten your waist. Breath out, don't do this without your pelvic floor and your adductors. Up we go, and down you go. Last one. One, hitch. Two, inner thighs, and three. Ready to come back onto kneeling. You're kneeling up, you know the rules now. We're going to go the other way around. So we have the hands to the forehead, you're kneeling up, everything's neutral, your rib cage core connects through the navel to the pubis. On the breathing out, you'll side bend and side bend. And you start to feel the opposite leg go lighter. When you feel that happen, see if you can go to the floor before the leg then floats away. You have one side that's more mobile than the other and vice versa in terms of strength. Plant your foot to the floor, this thigh bone stays vertical. Open your chest if you can. So if you look at the alignment, your heel of the straight leg, your knee, ling leg, and the hand are on a straight line. Big breath in. Breathe out and push the ground away to the point where you feel the knee is wanting to lift off. And inhale, release. Exhaling, feel that knee almost pull up the hip bone in towards the navel. So if my clothes weren't baggy, they'd see they'd cinching in between the rib cage and the hip bone. Okay, this time, allow your head to look if you want to, but you're going to push so far that actually your underneath leg comes out. You keep this bend and it comes back under you. Breathe in. Exhaling. Keep this hitched waist. Inhale and back in. Breath out. Push through the leg and the foot. And inhale and back. See, pushing. Leg, arm, keeping the waist. You're going to do one more. And lift the waist, to lift the leg, to return the leg, and to go back to hiding. People, we're ready for dart. Keeping your legs as long as you can. I think the rules will always be the same for this movement pattern. Go for your big, big reach. So with the big reach and the thigh bones reaching out of the pelvis, your legs, pull them tight together so you know where tightness is, and feel for your equipment to make sure you've got symmetry. Breathing deeply in and out. When you next breathe out, bring your arms by your sides. So already you're working in a long line dart. Inhaling and exhaling. Start off by just doing the general lengthening of the hands to the sides of the thighs. Inhaling, coming back down. Breathe out. Your legs, imagine they're going to lift, but they don't go anywhere at this point. 3 more. Breath out. Extend. Breathe in. Back to length. Now we add the shortening of the waist. So as you turn and look to your right, slide down the right thigh and return back, breathe in. Exhale, turn and look to the left, slide, shortening the waist without rolling the hips, and return back in. Turn, slide, reverse, and turn the head, slide, reverse. Exhale, inhale, breathe out, breathe in, one more each side. And place your hands ready for a reaching stretch. So on the next breath out, keep your legs long, core connect, and then inhale, peel away, and just find that extension to where your body's happy. Exhaling, Coming back down again. Breathe in, push the nose forwards and reach. Your legs are lengthened and strong. Crown of the head to the ceiling and back down again. Take it so that your hands come under your chest. Come all the way back into your shell stretch. Breathe deep, 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 deep. Finishing on all fours, because we're going to do your thread needle, which will mobilise and give you more feedback about all of those muscles that are meant to twist you. On the next breath out, imagine the ground being pushed away, your core activated. Take your right hand under and then exhale, shoulder down to the floor without twisting the hips. Inhale to hold it there, breathe out, return it back. Other side, arm and have a breath in just here and back we go. Take your toes under your feet, huge inhale, ready to go up into the equivalent of down dog. So up you go and press your heels down. Keep the tummy shrunken in and keep the reach. Now walk your hands so far that you can actually get your feet flat. Keep breathing to push the ground away. Keep your hips up. And we're going further still. Okay, from here then, pull your right hand to your left ankle and turn and look under the right armpit. Keep both heels heavy and then put your hand back again. Ready for the other side. My right hand to my left or vice versa. Turn the ribs but don't shift the hips. And back again. Are you ready? You go. Hand to ankle, cross the body. Turn and look under your armpit. Breathe. The pelvis goes nowhere. And repeat. Exhale always to the breath. When your hands come back again, bend your legs. Leave your head hanging. Ground your feet. And as the breath out happens, you know how to roll, tilting, rolling through the spine until you find yourself upright. Now, that was quite intense, but you should feel a little bit more mobile through the sides of your waist, and we will have identified quite a bit of where movement should appear and where it shouldn't appear to make the posture whole. That is your workout for the day. That's day 4. The whole emphasis here is that somehow, very belated good morning Diane and Helen, somehow the workouts, day 1, 2, 3, 4, should feed from each other and make sense of the body. Play with it and see if you put 1 and 4 together or 2 and 4. Tomorrow's going to be different again, obviously, but the idea would be you've got 30 to 40 minute moments where you can build your own Pilates body. Then when we're out of lockdown, your body won't be still in lockdown. You'll be joining us out of lockdown. Thank you. Still can't do side plank, that's Jane. Jane, play with it, have a moment at it, and it's all about your core, pelvic floor, transwall, so knowing where to find your power. Play with your side planks, everyone, and apart from that, have a lovely day. I do believe the weather's here to stay for a little while, so hopefully we can all enjoy a bit more outdoor work. So Caroline said, this looks challenging. That means she hasn't done it. For those of you that have watched with a view to preparing, and I'm glad that's woken Sarah up. If you're watching ready to prepare, have a go, let us know how it is, and talk to me about whether or not you feel that the routines kind of feed each other and make your body a Pilates strength. Bye for now. See you again, obviously.